Among all the dark news about COVID, there is one bright spot today. Vaccinations are surging ahead in New South Wales, and take-up in the hotspot regions in the city's west is outpacing the rest of the country. Yesterday, a record number of vaccines were administered in New South Wales. But the disease continues to take lives. An unvaccinated woman in her late 70s is the latest to die with COVID. And overall case numbers were slightly down on yesterday. Today, the government announced a vaccine blitz for the rest of the month. Here's state political reporter Ashley Raper.
While in a prolonged lockdown, there's one number people can be happy to help increase.
Doing for the community, doing for ourselves.
5.2 million vaccines have now been given in New South Wales.
I have to work, so I have to get vaccinated.
We now have nearly 52% of our population across the state with at least one jab.
The numbers are growing the fastest in Sydney's west and southwest. In the past week, 8% of people aged 15 and over received their first vaccination. So now 53% of people in the Blacktown area have had at least one dose. In the southwest, it's 46%. That means rates in those areas are getting closer to other parts of the city. And then from tomorrow, the Pfizer from Poland will start to become available to people aged 16 to 39 in the local government areas of concern.
We believe that we can deliver the full 530,000 doses of the Pfizer vaccine into the arms of people in the 12 LGAs in 2.5 weeks.
Within those areas, there are 7 suburbs causing the most concern. Overall, the case numbers are more than 400 for the 4th day in a row. Less than a third can be linked, and only 100 were definitely in isolation while infectious.
We envisage that case numbers in the next 2 or 3 weeks will bounce around and are likely to go up substantially. And we have to brace ourselves for that. But our key aim will be keeping people out of hospital and keeping people alive.
A woman in her late 70s has died in Westmead Hospital. The number of people in COVID wards has now increased substantially to 447. And there's spread of the virus within hospitals, from outbreaks at Canterbury, Nepean and at St George.
The result of that, just in that one fairly small case, has taken out 80 health staff. There's absolutely no question that the hospital system is under enormous pressure.
The government-run Breast Screen New South Wales has shut down temporarily because of the current risk. After providing a bleak outlook yesterday, the Premier moved to create a more positive picture today. And despite where the state is at, Gladys Berejiklian reassured people life will change in September and October.
I want to make that very clear. Does it mean we'll be living completely freely? No. But does it mean we'll be freer than what we're living today? Absolutely.
But she still refuses to say how hitting her 6 million vaccination target will translate into more freedoms next month. Ashley Raper, ABC News, Sydney.
Kathleen Calderwood is live for us at Sydney Olympic Park. Kathleen, it seems like the vaccination message is now really getting through in the city's west.
That's right, Juanita. Only 2 weeks ago, southwestern Sydney had some of the lowest vaccination rates in the state. Now, that was largely attributed to the fact that the population there is younger than average, and many residents had only recently become eligible for a vaccine. But it's clear now that opening up clinics to younger people and encouraging construction and other authorised workers to get vaccinated has made a huge difference, to the point where southwestern Sydney now has more people who've received their first dose vaccine than inner Sydney. And that's set to only improve from tomorrow when those 500,000 Pfizer vaccines from Poland begin to be administered.
Kathleen Calderwood reporting there. COVID continues to spread across regional New South Wales. Now it's reached the far west. 2 cases have been confirmed in Bourke and 1 in Broken Hill after a person travelled to at least 1 funeral at Wilcannia while infectious. Health authorities are increasingly worried about the high level of transmission in the Aboriginal community.
News of Broken Hill's first COVID-19 case of this outbreak prompted a rush on testing. The person was infectious at a funeral in Wilcannia on Friday.
There are, as you said, families, large families in Wilcannia. There is overcrowding that we know. So that's going to be a challenge for us.
We are concerned that there was not just one funeral, but there may be a couple of funerals that were in Wilcannia and other parts of that region. So we are concerned, very concerned.
The Defence Force will soon be in Dubbo, performing a range of roles across the region.
They'll support vaccination, but where swabbing or other activities are required, they're highly mobile, highly flexible, highly trained.
Of the 116 active cases in the state's west, 60% are Aboriginal.
Our communities know the challenges, and already leadership is stepping up, and we're seeing straight talking.
A Sydney man has been jailed for 2 months for catching the train to Armidale in breach of public health orders. And the fallout continues over Queensland's decision to require anyone entering from New South Wales from Saturday to have had at least one dose of a COVID vaccine.
We've now got approximately 60 staff who live in Queensland who are critical to our operations who can no longer come to council. So they've been stood down today.
Bob Guys Cheese.
Emily Prince says she normally crosses the border in her roles with the NDIS and Lifeline.
Having to get it in such a short amount of time on top of other priorities like homeschooling my kids is just there's not enough time allocated.
Back in Dubbo, the Mayor is urging people to stay the course.
I want to congratulate those for whom it's been particularly hard, because we need you to keep going.
And there's a lot riding on that. Gary John Lysart, ABC News, Dubbo.